All right, welcome back. It is time for the preview for the final week of this first tour of this DPC season. Hopefully that will be followed up with a major, but of course it's been almost a week now. We haven't heard anything about it. I'm still optimistic that there will be a major. I'm still treating it as if these teams are fighting for major slots. Let's just hope that it actually comes true. But before I get into this preview, in case you're only here for the fantasy picks, I'll get into those first. These are going to be pretty straightforward considering pretty much every team is playing only once, and for every region there's about 2 teams that aren't playing at all. Starting off with China, I went ahead with the PSG.LGD lineup entirely, taking out Faith Beyond and replacing him with Monet from Team Aster. Of course, carry players notably usually make more points or earn more points than offlaners, so that's why the swap is coming there. And of course, both of those teams are playing 2 matches in the next week. Following that, for Southeast Asia, I went ahead with Boom, and then whether or not you think T1 or Fnatic is going to win that series, you can go with either 23 Savage or Raven. That is completely up to you, but I think overall Boom has the easiest series here and has had the some of the best stats when it comes to individual players. For Eastern Europe, I went ahead and actually went with Hellraisers. I know Spirit is playing this week, and however, Hellraisers probably has the easiest matchup of the week. They are playing against Empire, who's been struggling a lot this season. However, if you think Spirit's going to win that series, I would encourage you to get them. I just took Hellraisers plus Yatoro. Virtus.pro has been on an upward trajectory as of late. They also have a new position 5 player playing for them for the rest of this tour. So again, that is really the only reason why I'm steering away from Team Spirit at the moment, and why I went with Hellraisers. Moving on to Western Europe, I took the Liquid roster plus Nisha, and in general, there's a lot of really close series this week. I think the one that is the least close will be that Liquid one. They're playing up against Alliance, who also has been struggling a lot. And for the rest of the series, you could take any carry you really want, but I think Nisha has been having a fantastic season, especially when it comes to his stats. He's been leading the charts on in the region when it comes to GPM, XPM, KDA, and all that kind of stuff, despite the fact that Secret themselves have not been having the best time. So that is just my personal pick, but again, you can't really go wrong with taking any carry in this region. Uragi's also been playing fantastically, and yeah. Now for North America, I went with Undying plus Arteezy or Yawar. Again, based on whoever you think is going to win the EG versus Quincy Crew series, I would take the carry player from whoever you think is going to win. Quincy Crew has looked really good, but Evil Geniuses have looked like a completely brand new team. I don't want to say ever since MSS joined, because that makes it seem that Nightfall was the problem, but these past couple weeks have been really impressive for Evil Geniuses. And so again, whoever you think is going to win that, I would take the carry player from that team and put him up with the Undying roster, who is playing Arkosh this week. Undying did have a rough week last week, but I think they should be able to turn things around here. And finally, for South America, I took the Thunder Predator roster plus Benny from King of Kings. What a roller coaster of a final week it's been for South America, or at least this past week. After this video, I'm going to be posting my South America Week 5 review. Feel free to check that out. If you don't want to miss that, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Now, getting into the actual preview here, for most of these regions, we don't even have 5 matches this week, as things are going to be ending off. But of course, very likely that a lot of these regions and divisions are going to have tiebreakers. And as I mentioned in my video yesterday, if there are any tiebreakers and stuff like that, which there will be, I'll be making a preview for those as soon as we know exactly what those matchups are going to be and when those will be actually taking place. So starting off with China on Tuesday the 18th, so just a little bit from now. There was actually some matches earlier today for China, but I, of course, am only going to be including the following week's matches. We have eHome taking on PSG.LGD. eHome has looked pretty good, but they're kind of lacking that consistency that they're probably aiming for if they want to make it into that top 4, which, of course, is a major spot, whereas PSG.LGD has looked fantastic. They've looked dominant. They've looked like themselves. Each and every one of their players is firing on all cylinders. A real treat to watch. Following that, 3 p.m., we have VG Gaming taking on RNG. This is one that I'm also really excited for, because for RNG, we have seen some levels of success for them, but we've also seen them be very, very shaky at times. And so I think the more we get to see RNG play, the more we get to understand just how strong or maybe shaky the team actually is. And then finally, ending things off on the 18th, we have Invictus taking on Aster. Invictus has had a pretty rough go of it so far. They're sitting at a 1-4 record right now. They need to win their next 2 series if they want to avoid relegation. They need at least 1 win if they can rely on VG Gaming losing their last 2 series. But the thing is that Invictus is playing against arguably the 2 toughest teams in the region right now, and that's Aster and PSG.LGD. So not what I was expecting whatsoever, but Invictus Gaming might actually be heading to the lower division. despite the fact that they only changed one player from their roster that did very, very well in the last tour, or in the last season, I should say. And then on Sunday the 23rd, we have Vici Gaming taking on Phoenix. So again, Invictus Gaming needs to either win both of their series or rely on Vici to lose, and their first matchup is going to be against Phoenix, who so far hasn't yet to win a series. And then finally, ending things off, we have Astra taking on RNG, which is my match of the week. And then at 6 p.m. we have Invictus taking on PSG.LGD. So yeah, Invictus, I don't want to say anything too soon because it's of course still possible, but it's looking very unlikely, which is really unfortunate, not something that I've seen at all. And of course, the only two teams that actually have a spot solidified in this division, PSG.LGD is guaranteed to make it to the major if there is one, and Phoenix is guaranteed to get relegated to the lower division so far. But again, by the looks of it, Invictus Gaming might be the second team joining them. We'll have to see. Moving on to Southeast Asia now, where we have no teams actually so far locked in for a major spot. We have 4 teams that are all battling for those top 3 spots. This is the only region actually where there isn't a single team that's locked in for the major, again, if there is one. Kicking things off, we have Boom taking on Execration. And Execration needs to get a win if they want to avoid relegation. If they don't pick up this win, then they are subject to tiebreakers if OB Neon is able to win their series later on. But first, before that, at 6 p.m. later that day, on the 19th, we have Fnatic taking on T1. This, again, is going to be a fantastic series. It's my match of the week because if Fnatic does win this series, then there's going to be a 4-way tie for first place, unless Boom manages to win their series, which again is kind of likely. But again, if Fnatic wins this, there will be a 3-way tie for the top for the following 2 spots behind first place. And then Motivate and OB Neon. And in this case, OB Neon has full control of their fate. If they win this series, then they are now tied with Motivate, very likely to be tied with Execration as well. They'll have a chance to dodge relegation, but they need to start off by winning this series. And for Motivate, they're looking to turn things around. They started off the season 2-0, and they've lost the following 4 matches that they've had. They're looking to end things off on a stronger note and avoid those tiebreakers. So we'll have to see how that goes. Now moving on to Eastern Europe, things kick off on the 20th. Apologies, I forgot to change the dates at the top right, my bad. Things kick off on the 20th at 5 p.m. We have Empire taking on Hellraisers. Empire to this point are locked in to be making it to the lower division. So this matchup doesn't exactly mean a whole lot for them, but for Hellraisers, it is an important match as they are currently sitting tied with Virtus.pro right now in 3rd place. If they get this win, they get ahead of VP, and for VP, it's going to be tough to catch up to Hellraisers if they do get up to that, because Virtus.pro has their toughest challenge yet. They are taking on Team Spirit to end off this first tour, who is undefeated to this point and has looked as fantastic as they were back at TI. Of course, this is the grand rematch that we've all been anticipating for this region. Maybe not as much hype built up to it to this point as we maybe would have thought, with VP kind of struggling a little bit throughout certain points in this tour, but it should still be a fun match. And again, VP pretty much needs to win this series if they want any sort of chance of making it to the major, because Hellraisers very likely to win their series up against Empire. And following that, on Friday the 21st at 2 p.m. we have Mind Games taking on Gambit. Winner of this series dodges relegation, loser gets sent down to the lower division. Awesome. This would have been my match of the week had we not had the 2 fantastic teams of Virtus.pro and Team Spirit facing off, but this one should be fantastic as well. Again, a lot on the line for these 2 teams. There will not be any tiebreakers for that lower bracket, for that lower division relegation. We just have this series here, so that's super fun. Now moving on to Western Europe, we have 2 teams that are already locked in for the major so far, if there is one. We have Team Liquid and Team Tickles, who are tied for first place with a 5-1 record each so far. Kicking things off on Tuesday the 18th at 2 p.m. we have Liquid taking on Alliance. Of course, again, both of these teams, we already know where they're going. Alliance is getting relegated, so not the hugest stakes here. Following that, we have Secret taking on Tickles, which is a super important matchup for Team Secret as they are currently sitting outside of the major slots. They need this win if they want to be able to actually force tiebreakers, which are with a bunch of other teams that are currently sitting at 4 wins. We have OG, we have Nigma, and potentially if Tundra wins their last series here against OG as well, they'll also have 4 wins. So a lot of opportunities for a lot of ties this week in Western Europe. I'm hoping for as many as possible. That means that I'm hoping that both Tundra and Secret win their series. And yeah, I'm really excited for Western Europe's next week of Dota. Again, I'm really hoping there's a major, man. There's so much hype building up to this end of the season. It would really suck if there wasn't the payoff of having a major. Now moving on to North America, we have one team that is already locked in for that major, that being Quincy Crew, and we have one team that's already relegated and finished their tour already, and that is Black and Yellow. On Tuesday, the 18th, we kick things off at 3 p.m. with 4 Zoomers up against Wildcard. 4 Zoomers are already locked in for the upper division for the next tour. They won't be making it to the major. They won't be getting relegated. Whereas Wildcard, they surprisingly find themselves sitting in contention for a major slot with teams like Evil Geniuses and Undying, which is not something I was expecting whatsoever. And, 4 Zoomers is still one of the more decent teams in the region. Definitely not as weak as teams like Arkosh or Black and Yellow, but this will still be a pretty decent test for Wildcard, and if they win this, then their likelihood of making it to the major just gets all that much stronger. Following that, we have Arkosh taking on Undying. Again, Undying needing to get this win if they want to make it to the major, and Evil Geniuses taking on their toughest opponent so far, Quincy Crew. Very similar to Virtus Pro taking on Team Spirit here. We have one team that we thought would be one of the best of the region, Evil Geniuses, from taking a look from the major slots from the outside, and now they need to win their last series, and it's up against the undefeated team of the region. So I think that's going to be super hype. That is my match of the week for North America. I'm super excited for that one, as again, Evil Geniuses with Undying taking on Arkosh and Wildcard taking on 4 Zoomers. It's very likely that they're going to need to win that series to make it to the major. And finally, ending things off with South America, which again, I'll have a review for after this video. Feel free to check it out in just a few hours. Just waiting for that last lower division match to finish up. We have at 6 p.m. on Thursday the 20th, Infamous taking on King of Kings, 2 teams that are currently sitting tied for second place in the region with Beast Coast as well. Winner of this one will likely be going to the major if there aren't any tiebreakers. Following that, on Friday the 21st, we have Lava taking on Hokori. Currently, Lava, whoever wins this series is safe from relegation. Whoever loses it is going to be forced into a tiebreaker matchup with no ping for relegation, which I think is going to be super exciting. And then finally, ending things off with my match of the week at 6 p.m. on Friday the 21st, we have Beast Coast versus Thunder Predator. Again, same thing with kind of like VP taking on Spirit. Not as much hype building up to this as we get closer and closer to the match taking place due to the fact that Beast Coast has been struggling a lot in their past 2 series. But again, Beast Coast, they need to win this series if they want to at least force tiebreakers, because again, one of these 2 teams between Infamous and Kings is going to end up with 5 wins. Currently, Beast Coast is sitting at 4. So there's a very, very real likelihood that Beast Coast misses out on the first major. Again, if it does in fact take place. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What matchup are you guys most looking forward to? What tiebreakers would you guys really love to see? And yeah, I'll talk to you guys in just a few hours with my South America Week 5 review. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.